And welcome to Bleav in Chargers with the great Lorenzo Neal. I'm Matt Money Smith here. It's a downtime. Players on vacation, coaches on vacation, staff on vacation. It's their one little window before we get rolling low. July 17th is the start of training camp. And obviously, we're in the month of July. We got NFL football this month. Chargers versus Lions, Hall of Fame game out in Canton, going to be on July 31st. So pretty cool that we can now do a day of 29 days, and we will have ourselves an NFL football game, something we're awfully excited about. All right, Lo, share with the people, as you are a man who moves around the world, from Dubai to Florida. Where are you right now? What do we got going, bud?
I'm in the beautiful city of Napa Valley. That's right,
Oh.
Napa Valley. No wine tasting today. Didn't do any of that. I was in your area the other day. Went down and saw your boy, Andre Reed. He had his golf tournament, Reed for Kids, and was able to bump into some great players and guys that you know. Q, talked to Q for a while, told him you and I, we love him. I said, hey, I'll tell you what, Matt Money Smith loves you. Think you've made some huge improvements. We took a picture together, met his beautiful fiance, and we talked.
Wonderful.
Took pictures together and just chopped it up and talked shop. And I said, hey, I seen huge growth by you, huge improvement. I said, Money's saw you, talked about your hands and talked about how, you really stepped up and took it to the next level. And it was crazy. He's a good young man. It's the first time that I had opportunity to speak with him. He's full of life. He's very respectful. So got to see him and talk to, T.O., the great Terrell Owens and, Terrell Davis. All those guys were there, Ray Lewis. And it was good to see Andre Reed and what he's doing and what his foundation is doing and how many individuals he's helping young kids and through the Boys and Girls Club and helping kids to just help with literacy. So it's awesome. It's an awesome event.
So obviously the question everybody's wondering is, how'd you hit him? Can you swing the clubs all right, Lo? You doing all right?
I left that alone. Money, I left that alone. I kept my head down. Dave Ben, they had one hole that's set up, and you have the guys out there, and they'll kind of measure who's got the long drive.
Right.
Dave Ben drove the ball like 310 yards. I think mine was like 290. Dave Ben hey, the guy, I told him, I said, it's no fair. All you did when we were at the Chargers every day, it was crazy because they would be done. They wouldn't show up. I mean, it was like they're done to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and they come rolling in at 2 o'clock. And what'd you do? I went and played 9 holes of golf. So Dave Ben had plenty of time on his hand to be perfect this golf game. So he's still hitting them good. He's great. And it's interesting. Him, Mike Cyphers, we're all going to head out to Canton, hang out with you go watch Antonio Gates get inducted into the Hall of Fame. So exciting month. I know it's a slow time, but exciting for a lot of people.
Yeah, the specialists, man. What are they doing? They're over there playing ball games. That's what they're doing. And they're flipping around and spinning the ball and hanging out.
Yes.
They're just a bunch of weirdos.
Weird. They make up, like you said, spinning the ball. They make up games. They got too much time in there. They're making up so many different things that they do. You're absolutely right. Specialists.
No doubt. And the Chargers got 3 good ones right now. Josh Harris, the long snapper, one of the elites, as Coach Harbaugh shared with us. He's like, we got 10. I forgot. Josh Harris, elite, one of those 10 elites. And then, of course, J.K. Scott, your punter. And Cam Dicker, who I don't know if a lot of people saw this floating around on the socials, but he has attempted 97 field goals so far in his career. When he gets to 100, which will be in his next 3 attempts in the regular season, even if he misses all 3 of the attempts, he will still be the most accurate kicker in NFL history.
Wow.
Through 100 attempts. And we know how most of these games go. They're tight, 1-score games. Having a kicker that you can trust is as important as ever with parity and with how tight these contests are. So to have Cam Dicker's a great thing. So even though we joke about it, and we should joke about it because you do look out there and they're freaking 3 weirdos just doing stupid stuff and spinning balls on plates and on their head and doing all this weird thing stuff, but they're incredibly important. Bet Online continues to be your number one source for all your sports betting action. Baseball's in full swing. Football, as we just said, we got a game at the end of this month. So Bet Online, a way for you to stay in on the action with all the odds, the scores, the news, live in-game betting. If you want to shift what you were doing early, you can do that with Bet Online. So whether it's MLB, UFC, tennis, Wimbledon going on right now, NFL futures, Bet Online is your choice for sports wagering info. And make sure you hit up their casino when you're not looking at the games, all the Vegas-style games, poker, live casino, they got them all. Head to the website today. Take advantage of their industry-leading VIP program, level up bonuses, weekly cash boosts. Bet online. The game starts here. Because there isn't a whole lot going on, Lo, we asked producer Lindsay to knock out some stuff with Reddit, and let's lean on the folks and just try to clean up some stuff before we get rolling. Of course, the two big dates, like I said, July 17th is day one of training camp. July 15th will be the unveiling of the uniforms, the new alternate uniforms. And I don't know, Lo, because you are a Charger legend, I don't know if you were privy to finding out what these things are going to look like.
No, money. Hey, you know what? I was coming to you because you're the man with the plan, the master plan at that. These unis, I know they're going to be slick. They're going to be sweet. You know the Chargers, man. They always come up with something great. I mean, I love when they reveal those new uniforms. I remember I had the opportunity to be one of the guys who reveal, in the offseason. So, I had my offseason body, so I wasn't looking. I had the dad bod going. So I remember back in the day.
Yeah, dad bod.
Being able to reveal.
Yeah, you could not work out for the next 5 years and you still wouldn't have a dad bod. The amount of muscle you have would still consume all the fat that you're trying to put on your body. All right, so let's get through a handful of these. Who do you expect this says, who do you expect our wide receivers to be for the season? I think that's, you mentioned talking to Q a little bit earlier. I think that's a polite way to euphemize. Is Q going to be out there? And look, everybody from Coach Lyle, his position coach, Sanjay Lyle, the wide receivers coach, to Greg Roman, to Jim Harbaugh, they've all said Q's a starter. So Q's going to be out there. And obviously, it's going to be Ladd McConkey. And then because I have not seen Mike Williams work out yet with the team, he's been working off to the side this whole time. For the most part, he was out there running a couple routes with Justin. But, as long as he's healthy, to me, that's your three. And then it's just a matter of, I just think about how good Ladd was last year. And it took him till like week 6.
Right.
They really started putting it on his plate and giving it to him, and that's how good he was. So to think that Trey Harris, and he could just totally show out in the preseason and training camp, right? And snatch one of those spots or get a lot more reps. But to me, that's just kind of the way it's going to be going in, and they'll adjust from there.
Hey, what's good about Trey? I think money, and I think you can have the same type of sentiment, is you have to realize last year you're in a situation where you needed Ladd to play big, tried to get this guy involved, tried to do things. And sometimes you force it, trying to do stuff because you don't necessarily have that true one yet.
Yeah.
Until Q came into his own and you see the improvement, even though he was improving, it was great. But now you're in a different situation. So if you're Trey and you're back here now, you're not asked to step up. And so I think that you see more quicker and see bigger plays from a guy like that, because it's not going to be pressed upon him, because you're going to have the Q, you got the Mike Williams, you have the guys around you. So I think that you're going to see this guy have some exciting big plays, and I think it's going to be often. It's not going to take halfway during the season, because I think he has more help that's going to make him easier object to get open.
Yeah, I think, and what you're, kind of what you're speaking to, Lo, is just the idea of what role he could fill. And
yes,
I don't think we have, are we certain that Mike, because last year was a mess for Mike. He'd be the first to admit it. He was coming off his ACL, so he tore his ACL in week 3. He's trying to rebound from that. He's an older player. It's going to take a minute, and just never got quite right. So if Mike Williams is back to being the Mike Williams he was the year before he left the Chargers, then he's going to be out there a lot. Now, if he's not, and age and injury have caught up to him, then yeah, Trey Harris is going to fill that X receiver, downfield, vertical 9-route threat that they need. Because that's not, we certainly know that that's not what Q's specialty is, or what his strength is. Ladd can do it. Ladd, you think about that catch in the Saints game, one of the best catches of the year. So, and that's, I think, where it kind of opens the door a little bit and why you hear the coaching staff repeatedly talk about Jalen Reagor, because he does have that speed. So that's kind of probably until Trey Harris, really shows, yeah, we can throw this guy out there for, 15, 20 snaps and we're right. Good. I think until they're really comfortable believing that that's going to be the case, then I think Reagor still kind of has that little window to make it onto this team. Let's see. Christopher, Money, do you know if they're expanding the seating and number of attendees at training camp this year? I don't. but I do know that if you go to the Chargers website, that they have all the details. I'm pumping it in right now just so I can try to get the chargers.com/camp has everything. So you can, it says like right now, available 7/7. So July 7th, you can start signing up for seats. And it's 17, 18, 19, nothing on the 20th because that's a Sunday they're off. So 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 28, 29 going into that game on the 31st. Like all of these are going to be available for you to go see. So the first three you can sign up for are July 17th, 18th, 19th. And that will become available on July 7th. So just pop in there, figure out what day you want to go and roll in there. And it's kind of cool. They have, if you don't know, if you're a parent and you want to bring your kid, they have this little corral that's for kids only. At least they did last year, where no adults can go in. It's right on the gate. So, because I would end up chatting with a lot of the kids as I was walking up and down the field, and it's pretty cool. You know, the players, that's where they end up going, usually right after practice to get all the autographs and the photos, and no adults allowed, just straight kids. So it's pretty cool. And the kids are just kind of hanging out together and rapping together, no parents around. And it's pretty fun to see. So it's a good idea by the Chargers to do that. Lo, when are you going so the people can set their schedules?
Yeah, you know what? I'm definitely going to come out to a couple of days of training camp. I wanted to get out there. I know it's going to be big, especially with Antonio Gates going to be inducted to the Hall of Fame. And it's a quick start for the Chargers. I mean, you know, hell, they got the first game of the season this year, you know, in Canton, Ohio, you know, and
Yep.
you want to be there. So I want to see how these young guys. I can't wait to see kind of the running backs, receivers, and what the Chargers have in store. I think that you're going to see these guys get off to a fast start. This is not a training camp that you got to ease into it. And I think that I imagine Harbaugh and the coaching staff doing OTAs and also doing mini camps said, "Hey guys, we're off and running right away. We're up to play early. I want guys, to take this next 6 weeks. Yeah, enjoy yourself, but make sure you understand why you get to enjoy yourself is because this game called football, and we have a lot of work to do." And you have things that you have to do. So yeah, it's a dead time, but this is guys when guys are pushing, getting in great shape, getting in better shape, making sure their bodies are ready because this is a quick training camp and you're playing in a couple weeks. You're not in training camp for long. You're in a week earlier than everyone else. And you want to represent in Canton, Ohio, Antonio Gates getting in the Hall of Fame. So I'm coming down there probably the first week camp, check out a day or two and just to be around it and just to see kind of what the atmosphere is and how these men are going to respond because trust me, they understand what's at stake. They understand what they want to accomplish this year.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned Coach Herbert. I was listening to another pod, Daniel Jeremiah, who we do the games together, obviously for the Bolts. His podcast is great for those of you that I'm sure you already have found it, but if you haven't, it's Move the Sticks. Does it with Bucky Brooks, a couple former scouts, and they obviously break down the game better, I think, than anybody else out there. And they had Tom Crean on. And for those that don't know, Tom, many people know Tom Crean is, former head coach of Marquette. When Dwayne Wade was there and they made that run to the Final Four, head coach at Georgia. When Anthony Edwards was there, head coach at IU for a number of years. And he just so happens to be married to Coach Harbaugh's wife, Joni. So he's part of the Harbaugh family. And one of the questions was kind of brought up about how hard it is to recruit now when you're not really recruiting because guys are just getting in the portal and you're trying to get the number right and you're just trying to get them in before you even really get your hands on them and you can see how they move and what their strengths are and you want to kind of just get a feel for them. And he's like, it's so hard to make that happen. And he brought up Michigan. He's like, one of the secret weapons of Michigan was that no one was better at getting around players than Ben Herbert. And he was like, he was the secret weapon is when kids would come in, coach, Ben Herbert, strength and conditioning, as opposed to coach, I call him coach,
Right.
would get with these kids. And he was just so dialed into what they needed based on kind of film and strengths and these different things that he would put. And he went through all the details and it was like, here's an outsider that's preaching the Herbert gospel, on a podcast, a former basketball guy that just kind of knows who's in the Harbaugh family, but knows the reverence that they have for that guy and how important he is. And I bring it up now, Lo, because of what you said. Hey, these
Yeah.
guys are off, but they're on the Herbert program. And that's
Yes.
kind of this special sort of special sauce that
Oh,
the Harbaugh staff has.
they do. Herbert, I kind of watched this guy and watched some of the training they do, guys crawling on their hands and fingers and
Right.
it's so unique and so different. What he's trying to do is get every muscle, every fiber in your body to fire. And that's why you see guys crawling. They're doing bear crawls. They're doing backwards crawl, alligator. I mean, it's the thing that those little intricate things that he's doing. I'm like, wow, things that I haven't seen guys do, but just he wants guys to be in those awkward positions that their bodies contort a certain way and still being able to function and function at a high level. And that's what you hope when you do that, you'll have less injuries. You have guys more fluid, they're in control of their body in any different angle that they may be in. They're in control of their body because Coach Herbert has stressed the body that way. And I think it's unbelievable what he's doing.
Yeah, just to put a wrap on that too, when we talked to Coach, I thought he's so good at just kind of making things simple, but making them make sense. And when we asked about, Coach Herbert and what should these guys be doing on this time off? And, to like speaking to your point, Lo, and he said, it's pretty simple. Whatever Ben Herbert says. If Ben Herbert says you got to do this more, do it more. If he says, hey, you need to do this less, do it less. If he says you're in great shape, keep doing what you're doing. He goes, that's it. That's all they have to do. So there it is. We'll see, Ben. What do I got to do, Coach? Do this more, do this less, do this the same. Great. Now we're good. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And it's that simple. Let's see. Thoughts on Q's progress standing. That kind of, I think we spoke to that. You hit that earlier, Lo. You had a chance to see him. And I mean, there's really nothing to get into, I think, until we get into training camp, when corners can make contact, when there's a little more physicality out there, when we're in some preseason games and he's put into those positions where he's got to execute and concentrate and be consistent. And I expect we're going to see great things. Here we go. Oh, this one's great for you, Lo. I was 16 watching LT's record-breaking game at 3 a.m. in Saudi Arabia at my grandparents' house. They had a satellite at the time. That play is forever embedded in my memory, just like it is yours. You told that tale last week.
Forever it's embedded. You were in Saudi Arabia watching it. You were big time. Grandpa had the satellite. You guys are doing some big things out there back in the day. It's embedded in mine forever too, because I'm on the ground crawling around watching LT make 3 guys miss to get in the end zone. But the way he did it was just so gracious. And I think that play speaks volume of who he is and who he was as a player. I mean, LT's a phenomenal guy, great man, great person, but the things that he was able to do on the football field, the ability to make people miss. I mean, yeah, Barry Sanders could do it, and Barry Sanders could do things that just you haven't seen.
Yeah.
But the way LT, how fluid his body was, I think that you think about LT, you never seen him really take a big hit, never seen him take a big shot, because he just knew, and that's not. It's not even talent. That's just having a unique ability.
Yeah.
Just because a lot of people don't have that. Adrian Peterson, one of the best Hall of Fame running back. Adrian ran hard, fast, but you see him take some big shots. You seen Jerome Bettis, big shots. Eddie George take some big shots. LaDainian Thompson, you never really saw him. He knew how to take a shoulder away. You could hit him with the blunt of it, but he's going to spin out of that and take off for 30, 40 yards down the field because his body knew how to just give. And the motion in which he did it, but I had never seen it before. It was unreal.
Saw a highlight package. I can't remember the year, but it was a Rivers versus Jay Cutler game, and they were barking at each other before the game. I think the final, I don't know if you remember it, Lo. It's like you guys put like 50 on the board, and it was just, I was like, man, there's times when I really miss having Phillip around, man. He's so damn funny, and he was hilarious. Just how
I'm gonna keep talking. He
Yeah.
was going, you like that? He hit guys on the butt. You like that, man? Don't be doing that, Phil. All right, man. I'm just excited. That's all, man. Yeah, I'm just excited.
Yeah.
Phillip was crazy. You come on. You running now. You can't hide. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, we're on the field.
Hilarious.
Look, he was crazy. He's like, Lo, you wearing him out. Hey, 52. He gonna wear you out today. You better. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, and it was just there's no cursing. It's just
Right.
by golly, he's knocking you out, 52. My God, darn it, he's coming in here, dadgummit. He's gonna knock you down. That's what he's gonna do. It's just so hilarious.
Better keep your head on a swivel. You better keep
exactly.
Hey, we
Cutler's
got
dropping
Phillip.
F-bombs all over the place. He's like,
Oh
F,
yeah.
F and F. And her, Rivers like, well, we ain't going away now, Jay. We ain't going away. We're just going to keep doing it. So
Hey,
good.
we had him playing Bones. So Phillip came to the league, and it's crazy. I told you all the stories. Me and LT friggin' in the saunas doing his sit-ups and friggin' stuff, and we're just telling him, hey, Phillip comes in there and said, man, you got it, man. We said, man, Phillip, you're going to be great, man. Everyone's talking about how good. He said, what do I got to do? And me and LT said, man, you could be the greatest quarterback in the league if you just did your abs. He starts doing abs in the sauna. I mean, Phillip was so good.
Yeah.
And we taught him how to play dominoes. This guy can play some
He'd be
both.
fun playing dominoes.
Oh, he'd start talking. He's learned how to play.
Yeah.
Money, he talk junk. You running? Come on, you don't want me. If you beat me and LT, once we taught him, Phillip was good in dominoes too.
Yeah.
Love that guy.
By the way, that was the first day and the last day that Phillip did abs. I'd like to point out. that never happened again. I can promise you that. All right, here we go. Let's get some. How'd you get the nickname Money? Johnny, I wish I had an exciting story. It's not. I worked for a dumb FM morning show, and they decided to call me Money. That's it. Everybody had to have a nickname. It was Kevin and Bean at K-Rock here in Los Angeles, and they decided to call me Money.
I like it.
It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Here we go. Low. Who do you approve as fullback one? Undrafted rookie Klotz or Matlock?
Ooh, Klotz and Matlock. I'm a go with Klotz because Matlock. I think that his body, just a big guy, just friggin' mold into it, throw him out there. But Klotz. Who would you think? Who are you going?
Well, I think it's going to be Scott's just because this staff, Scott Matlock, this staff loves versatility and the fact that they can throw him out there on defensive line for 10, 12 snaps. And he's a core four special teamer too. So
yeah.
So there's that. So I think when you're talking about, look, I think Steve-O's going to make, to me, he'll be on the practice squad because no one's going to come get him. I don't think you would have, there's only a couple teams in the league that are carrying a fullback. Now, unless he goes out there in the preseason and freaking knocks some skulls, and then there's a possibility where they're like, well, like you said, Lo, we're trying to make this work with Matlock, and he's making great strides, and he's getting better, but this dude's just plug and play, ready to go. Let's go. And he's a guy that, caught passes and is a little athletic and stuff like that. So that's an under the radar position battle because they're going to carry one, and it's a matter of how much do they like. To me, with Matlock, if Steve-O can prove to be a four-core guy, then I think it makes it very interesting because they're pretty deep now on the interior line after signing Naquan Jones and Deshaun Hand and drafting Caldwell. They've got Tito. They've got some bodies in there now. So I think that's where it could get interesting because Ryan Ficken needs to restock those four core special team units, it's because of all the guys that left. So I think that's where, there's no more Simi Fehoko. He's gone. Nick Neiman's now gone. He was the number one special teamer. So if he can find that ace, then, and now Dan's off special teams, Thule's off special teams. So that's going to be certainly something worth watching because Coach Ficken is going to have a lot to say, I think, in which one of these guys make the team based on, how important special teams is and how good Ryan Ficken's units have been and how they've won these games for the Chargers. So let's see. Here we go. This is from Alan Cleary. Money Low, great show. Our O-line goes, yes, we did bring in Becton, but I don't think that's going to be enough to make the difference we need. Jim might switch. Let's call him coach. I'm kidding. Might switch Zion and Bozeman, and that's all we need, I think. Blah, blah, blah. I'd love it in Joe. Well, we talked about Sheriff and Hernandez. I don't know if it was here or over at Chargers Weekly I talked about it. But so I think the thing, Alan, that I would say, and Lo, I'll let you dig into this because you know better than I do, but you're not going to be able to evaluate the O-line until the pads come on. Like they're not going to say, like, if you want them to sign Sheriff or Hernandez right now, it's not going to happen. And those guys, they don't want to be in training camp anyway. They're 30, 33 years old or whatever with that, man. I'll sign the third week of training camp when somebody loses an O-lineman and I'll just come in, get more money, not have to deal with training camp.
Oh, that's exactly how that works. There's a lot of guys that are out there just like, man, why have no one picked him up? Some of these guys are saying, no, I'm good. I don't want a training camp. I don't want the wear and tear on my body. And a lot of these guys know that there's going to be injuries during camp, and you're going to find a home for these guys. But I think when it comes to the offensive line, Harbaugh, they went out and they got some depth. You will go out there and you compete. You got guys that are going to be able to compete. And now you change the whole running back room is going to be different. You went out and got more individuals that can run the ball downhill. You got bigger, you got stronger, you got faster. You upgraded hugely, immensely at the running back position. And you got more competition. And no one is safe at the running back position. Guys are fighting for that starting job. There's 3 guys that could be fighting for it. So
Yeah.
now you have offensive linemen that are going to even work even harder. So and you have a quarterback now that has a running game. So I know that the line wasn't what it needed to be last year, even though you have 2 great tackles, probably 2 of the better tackles in the league. Even one was a rookie, but just by attrition and just by a year of being in this system, and now these guys coming together and having more depth at running back, this running game and this offense is going to be better. The offense is going to be, I would say, I would say eons what it was last year. I think it can
Yeah.
step up a lot more, in my opinion.
Yeah. When you have, look, and I think here's the thing, Alan, that like, and I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I don't know if Zion's going to be the center that they're sort of thinking he's got the potential to be. But when, Greg Roman is saying Dermontti Dawson and how he's built and how he moves, and you're like, Dermontti, that's who you're really going to drop that name? So
Wow.
like, that's the level of expectations. I mean, Dermontti Dawson is one of the greatest centers in the history of the game. And so like when they see, and again, it's not performance, it's possibility, it's ceiling. So for Zion, it's ceiling that they're talking about right now. If they can get this thing to work with that level of athleticism. And look, I think the thing that people forget about Zion is Zion can run block his ass off. So that's something to remember. Yeah, he struggles with stunts. That's the issue. And, I would assume that Steve Spagnuolo is going to come out in that game on September 5th, and they're going to stunt the hell out of this team. And just to see, have you figured it out? That's all we're going to do over and over, because that's kind of coach, that's kind of coordinator he is, over and over and over again. But it's interesting to point out because one of Zion's best games last year was against the Chiefs. Again, he kind of shut Chris Jones down for a good portion of that game. So now, if that's the case, let's just say that Zion is better at center than he was left guard. Well, now you're down to one spot that you're worried about. And if you feel, and I do feel, they are not just good, they are elite at tackle. They are
Oh, yeah.
elite at tackle. They are one of the 3 best teams in the league with that pair of tackles, with the potential to be number 1, depending on, we keep expecting Lane Johnson to fall off, but the man is defying Father Time. So like when you are, that's the conversation that we're having at tackle, is this, they could be the best. So then you get Mekhi Becton, who played at an incredibly high level last year next to Lane Johnson and Cam Jurgens in between those two in Philly, 2 very good players. So if Zion's great, now Mekhi Becton's back in the same place between what we believe is going to be an all-pro. Coach Harbaugh said Hall of Famer, get him a gold, basically said, I think he's on a track to be a Hall of Famer. Joe Alt. Okay. So now, so now it's like, can you get left guard to be average? It's all it needs to be. It's all it needs to be, is not terrible. And you will have an elite offensive line, one of the most elite units. If left guard is just sniffing average, you are going to have one of the elite O lines in the league if the Zion thing works out. And I think, to your point, Alan, and your concern is if they're not seeing it in training camp, then they're going to go get someone. That's what they'll do. But, they don't want to bring in someone who is 33 years old on the tail end, is not even really average, but they're close to it. They're just a tick below it. They're not a tomato can. You can put them out there and feel like they don't want to do that right now, because that's what they're signing for. They're not signing backup money. They're signing. They're going to sign to be a starter, and that's how they're going to expect to get paid if it's Will Hernandez or Brandon Sheriff. Let's see. Anthony wants to point out Q. He was watching highlights, saw how he was unselfish downfield blocking. Take a look at the Bengals, the drive to win the game last year. Don't knock him for effort. No, we've said that all along, right, Lo? I mean, Q.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned it. What your impressions were of him?
Absolutely. He's a good young man. He's a great guy. And here's a guy that wants to be good. And here's a guy that just got to go out and take it. Matt told him, I said, go take it. I said, this situation, man, where you have the talent. It's not the lack of talent. GMs, everyone talks about Raven, about his ability, as a talent that he has. The Ravens said they would have took him in the first round if the Chargers would. So it's not about talent. It's about just going out there and taking it and believing in self. And you saw that belief pick up even more. And now it's like, hey, look, be a dog. And I was like, hey, man, be a dog. Go out there and receiver. Hey, look, man, it's okay to be nice, but turn on you on the field, be a dog. Just go take over, transfer who you are. I'm like, no, I'm in the want to in the drive. Not that he doesn't want to be good, not that he doesn't want to be great, but it's like, okay, how do I make that click, and mentally and in my heart to say, okay, you're in front of me. I'm going to club the hell out of you when you try to get in front of me. I'm going to hit you hard with my shoulder because I'm physical enough and I'm strong enough. When I played, I can tell you when I played, if I knew a linebacker and I knew I'm playing against Ray Lewis, it didn't matter who was in front of me. I knew mentally and physically, I'm going to try my best to break you. And even if that guy was just as good at the same level, and I know Pro Bowls didn't matter, I was going to reach deeper that day. And that's what it is. It's a mindset, but it's an attitude, and it's saying, look, and you can't let anyone get in your heart, get in your mind. Because once they say, okay, I got you, and all of a sudden you jump at the line, all of a sudden they stone you, and you can't go anywhere, and they got you. And if you let that one moment affect you, it can affect you the whole day. You got to have a thick skin to go out there and dominate. That's what's only thing missing. It's not it's not effort, and it's not ability. It's the want to and the consistency mentally and physically. That's the only thing that's missing.
Yeah, it's and it's not easy. You know,
No,
that people forget.
no.
It's not easy. Um, Here we go. Am I crazy to think that Lad's NFL player comp is AB, Antonio Brown? No, I think I think the difference though is that, and oh yeah, you wrote this in here. I don't know who it was to put this in there. Lad ran a faster 40. He's 2 inches taller, weighed in at 185, exact same as, yeah, I think Lad, you know what it is? It's a solid comp. I think it's, the lazy comp is Edelman because they're both white, but I think that Lad is very similar to Edelman, just the way he moves. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You can call it lazy, but I've heard Tyler Lockett. That's a good one because of how fast he is, and that Lad is comfortable playing on the outside, so that works as well. But yeah, I think AB worked. Look, AB was a tough ass mother scratcher, man, and he was so good in the slot at exploding after the catch. So yeah, I think that's a good one. Curtis, it's crazy to think that all the coaches in the AFC West originally came from the NFC. Harbaugh versus Caroll is going to be primetime football again. Wow. No, I'll be honest, Curtis.
Wow.
No, I appreciate you kind of sharing that observation, but for me, no. I think because like what's more crazy is I'm kind of going through that question and thinking about it, is this entire division has former head coaches, and every single one of them three of them have won a Super Bowl, and one of them has been to a Super Bowl. Harbaugh's the only one that hasn't won a Super Bowl. Pete Carroll, Andy Reid, and Sean Payton. What's crazy beyond that they were in the NFC is that they're 4 former head coaches. I mean, just start going through okay, so we're the AFC West. Go through the NFC West. Sean McVay, first-time head coach. Kyle Shanahan, first-time head coach. Mike McDonald, first-time head coach. Jonathan Gannon, first-time head coach. Let's go through the AFC. Let's see, NFC North. Dan Campbell, first-time head coach. Kevin O'Donnell, first-time head coach. Ben Callahan, first-time head coach. Matt LaFleur, first-time head coach. Just pick a division. AFC South. Liam Cohen, first-time head coach. Shane Steichen, first-time head coach. D'Amico Ryans, first-time head coach. Ben Callahan, first-time head coach. That's normal. The fact that this one division has dudes that have been head coaches in the NFL and have been successful head coaches in the NFL to the point that they've either won a Super Bowl or been to a Super Bowl, that's what's crazy. And that's what's nuts about the AFC West. Not that they were in the NFC.
And to your point, maybe to cut you off, but think about what these coaches have done, and look how quick they've done it. In Denver last year, bring the coach in. What did he do? Think about what he did. Boom! Look at 1 year later, they're in the playoffs. Think about not just head coaches; they're those guys. Andy Reid had those guys. They win in Super Bowls. You brought in guys. Pete Carroll, Super Bowl. You think about the guys that you brought in. Yeah, not just head coaches, but look how quick they turn around organizations, and look how quick they build teams. They know they have the recipe for success.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I could just keep going, right? Think about the NFC North, right? One of the most, or AFC North. Everybody points to it as the most competitive. Mike Tomlin, and I know he's been there for 18 years, but first-time head coach, John Harbaugh, Zach Taylor, and who am I missing? Oh, Kevin Stefanski. All first-time head coaches. Like, this doesn't have, it's very, very, as you can tell, very rare. I'm just trying to think of who the hell else has been a head coach. But I mean, you got Dan Quinn in Washington. You got Raheem Morris, who was a head coach for a second in Tampa.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles, who was the head coach of the Jets. McDermott, first time for the Bills. Aaron Glenn, first time for the Jets.
Yeah. Jets.
Mike McDaniel, first time head coach for the Dolphins. It's like that's the norm.
Yeah, it is. Even Brian Schottenheimer, first time head coach with
Nick Sirianni, first time head coach. Like that.
Yeah.
So Lowe, who do you approve at fullback? Oh, we already got that one. No offense to the two of yous. No offense to the two of yous. I feel like I got to read it that way, but my favorite part might be the opening riff. Oh, thank you. That is Eric. That is my daughter, Preston, that wrote that for us. She just put a new song out, by the way, if any of you want to check it out. It's available on all your streaming platforms. Preston Smith, Prestyn. It's called Falling Out. So there you go. All right, last one. 3 huge hints about the alternate uniforms from me. Oh, from me. I know from his radio calls he loves the royal blue the most. That's true. He hopes the pressure he put on the Spanos family paid off, but he says he doesn't think so because he and the fans don't align in what they want. You could tell he was disappointed. I'm pretty sure there's no new royal blue. In fact, my bet is, unless the NFL changes rules around alternates, royal blue will not be worn again for years. Sorry, royal blue fans. He said 2 new. And the teaser video says new alternate uniforms, plural. So if there's no new royal blue, both of the new uniforms, either one is yellow or one is navy. Well, no, I say 2 new because it'll be a new home and a new road. So there's going to be a white that has whatever color accents I think that the new home is going to have. So it'll be a white with navy or a white with gold or a white. I think that's why I said 2 is you're not just. No. You're not. I don't think you're putting 2 home in because they want to wear powder blues more than anything. So these are just, the powder blues are the steak, the powder blues are the potato. The new alternates are the chives, the sour cream, the butter, the bacon bits, and all that sort of stuff. That's because we shouldn't put anything on a steak. So I'm not going to say mayonnaise or anything like that. One is white money said. There you go. There, it's on there. Yeah, that's my guess. And again, I don't know. I've asked. I've probed. I've wondered. Because they know I got a big mouth, so they won't tell me. They did say I was going to like them, though. They're like, "You're going to like them. Trust us. You're going to like them."
Well, you got good taste. So if they're saying you're going to like them, then they must be for them to say you would like them.
Yeah.
Then they'd be all right.
And I think it's also too like I'm not. I think the thing that's important is, my relationship with the Navies is negative. Because once they went to powder blue, every time they wear the Navies, I got the players preening and strutting, and they're all into the Navies. Man, these are our favorite uniform. And then they lose the game. And it's like they care too much about the Navies. They like them too much. And I can't give them what they like. I need them to be a little chappy, a little pissed off when they go into that game. So that was my only concern and I really didn't like the full navies as well, too. I didn't, the color rush when they're wearing navy pants with navy shirts just look weird.
Too much.
Yeah, too much. So, but, you wore the navies, Low. I'm sure you'd love to see them bring the navies back.
You know what? I think the navies are nice. I think you can wear, and I know you're like, hey, look, you guys are too comfortable in them. You look too pretty in them, so you're losing games. I don't need you wearing the navies. I like the navies, but you're not winning, and it's about winning. So let's just win. But give me the navies. I performed in the navies, baby.
I think you're getting the navies. There's quite a few fans that have been. Look, when you look, the powder blues are the best. They are the best. So, like I said, this is going to be a uniform that's worn once, maybe twice, over the course of the season. You got 8 home games or 9 home games. You're going to wear those powder blues for at least 5 of them, if not 6 of them, and then you're mixing in, the color rush or this new alternate. And the guys like wearing, powder blue with gold pant, powder blue with white pant. They love the iced out, as they like to call it, the all whites with the powder blue accents. So, all right, that's a good place to wrap it.
Well,
Flo, make sure you
let
grab
me get.
yourself some good wine on the way out of there.
There we go. I'll get you a bottle. But don't forget, guys. Hey, guess what? Time is winding out.
No.
We got to go to Bolts in Brazil. Go to boltsinbrazil.com. The game is only like 6-7 weeks away. You can go to Brazil, hang out with your boy. Tickets, tailgates, partying, everything's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great time. I'm telling you. Go to Bolts in Brazil. Check it out. Tell them Lorenzo Neal sent you.
Exactly right. boltsinbrazil.com. And if you go, rent a car so you can come pick me up and take me to the Sao Paulo Surf Club. Because I'm not allowed to rent a car, but one of you can. So that's the other thing you need to do.
I'll
I'm
make sure
working
we
on
get
that,
you.
Lo. I'm working on it.
I appreciate it.
I think I got a line on it. So I'm very excited about our trip to Brazil.
I got some people. I'll get my peoples to take you, man. I got bodyguards. Money, you're gonna be the man over there.
Bodyguards.
I'll let you boy.
All I need is you. Bodyguard, just bring Lo with me. Be like, I ain't messing with that. Just drink some more of this cachaça. All right, Lo. We'll be back next week. Big thank you to Lindsay for helping us put it all together. To all of you that weighed in on the Reddit or the YouTube, wherever your comments came, we appreciate all of you. We'll be back again next week. Bolt up.
Bolt up.